Good. Testing. Once upon a time, there was a princess in a tree. That princess gets around, I tell you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Talking to Earthlings with Lunakye, where we explore the humanism within all of us. Today, we welcome storyteller and philanthropist Elizabeth Blake Thomas. She raised $2 million to direct 10 feature films in 5 years and has worked with Terry Moore, Jodie Sweetin, and Ryan Brown. She also lives on a boat. Thank you so much for being here today, Elizabeth.
It's my absolute pleasure to be here.
So my first question is, tell me about the production company you created called Mother and Daughter Entertainment.
Well, as it says in the name, I'm a mother and my daughter is also in the industry, and so it kind of made sense to put us together because we're always together. In fact, possibly some people might say a little bit too much. We're best friends. I have several hats, not just practically, but metaphorically that I put on with her. Her best friend, her mother, her teacher, her coach, her mentor, her producer, her director, and then the mother thing kind of comes into play. And so it made sense that we get on so well. Why don't we just do something together? And we're in the same industry. So we used it kind of as an umbrella term to put all our productions underneath it. And it's amazing how many mother and daughter teams are out there, actually.
From reading an interview from Fab UK Online, I could tell you're a real go-getter. Were you raised to be that ambitious, or did you become self-empowered along the way?
That's a very interesting question. Because I feel like I was always like this. And it's funny, it's that nature-nurture thing, isn't it? And I'm kind of having this experience with my daughter at the moment because if she's got me as a mother, then you'd think she'd be quite like me, headstrong and ambitious and a go-getter. But she also does have the qualities of her father, actually, which are a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more kind of like, let's see how the world takes us. So she's got a fantastic mix. But I think the innate quality of just going and doing something is in you. I think I was born with it. And my mother probably comments on a few things where I've been headstrong and made very quick decisions, but they're decisions that felt right in my gut. So one of them would have been buying my boat. I realized that I wanted to have a different way of living, and I researched what that could look like. And I found a boat one night that was only 2 minutes away from where I lived. And the next morning, my daughter said to me, "Mummy, don't buy it, will you? Just think about it." And I called her up 2 hours later and I said, "Can I have my social security card number?" And she said, "Oh, you've bought it, haven't you?" So things like that with life. I'm also the same with business or my industry. If I make a decision and something feels right in my gut, and I think that's an ambition. That's what am I going to the next level? What's going to help me grow? What's going to help me progress? But I also don't waste things. In fact, I just read something this morning about the term frugal. And that is, I believe, how I live. So I can be ambitious in something and I can put a lot of time into it, but my time is the energy that I utilize well. I'm very frugal with it. What's the best thing to put my time into? So the ambition comes from headstrong, my gut instinct, being born with it, and being very time aware, I think.
I think that's a human condition that a lot of people can relate to.
Yes, I think some people have a fear factor. I like to flip those words on the other side of the spectrum and say brave. I consider myself to be very brave. And so when I look at something that is different, out of the ordinary, I know some people might shy away from that, or some people might take a little bit of time to consider it and think it through. Again, one of the things, I was kind of here and my ex-husband was here, and so Isabella's wonderfully in the middle with that, because again, I think it can be maybe too much either side, but I believe in going for something, and maybe we are also conditioned to be a little bit more reticent, and I kind of don't let that stand in my way.
I started TTE because I am very interested in other people's stories, and I really think that we're here to learn from one another. I noticed that the tagline for your company is making content that matters. Why is that important to you?
I think because I'm a mother. I feel a responsibility. I'm like this Mother Earth. To me, why would I waste my time and energy on putting something out there that's not going to have a benefit to other people? And if I expect other people to do the same that my daughter watches, listens to, is influenced by, then surely I need to do the same. So even if it's something as simple as making people laugh, that's really valid, especially in our current times. But it can also be something that is a more important message, like a child trafficking message. One of my next films, my next projects, is inspired by a girl who's deaf. So I feel a responsibility to put things into the world that are going to make a difference to people. And that can be not just my films, it's my books, my podcasts, even me in general. When I wake in the morning, my intention is to do something that matters.
That's an amazing human quality to have.
I feel very privileged that I have the time to be able to do that. It doesn't take much to be kind, it doesn't take much to not be reactive, and it doesn't take much to put love back into the world, you know, with our hellos. I mean, one of the hardest things at the moment is wearing these masks because people can't see me smile. And I'm often walking along and grinning and I go, they've got no idea I'm smiling at them. So I think even a smile, there's a fantastic poem by Spike Milligan. I used to know the whole thing, but people can look it up. But it starts with, smiling is infectious, you catch it like the flu. When someone smiled at me today, I started smiling too. And it's a beautiful poem, so I think people should look it up.
Your short film, Unseen, is a powerful film about the dangers of young women falling prey to sex trafficking. It's a cautionary tale that every adolescent and parent needs to see, in my opinion. What drew you to make that film?
Again, it always comes back to this motherly instinct. My daughter is quite a well-known actress and is often on social media, not as much as many of her friends. But I found that a lot of her friends were creating fake profiles. And there was an instinct in me that was wanting to keep Isabella safe. And I just took that as a normal mum thing. But I went to a film festival, I went to Sundance, and I met somebody there who told me this true story about this girl who had been lured into a false commercial audition, modelling audition. And it was a true story. And it kind of just hit me with, I do what I think I can do to provide safety for my daughter, but there are still things that we just have no idea about as parents. And so it allowed me to get into this research on what these predators are looking for. And again, I felt a responsibility that I'd learnt this information. How could I create something that's effective enough that adolescents and parents could watch and start a conversation? And it seemed to make sense that it was this short film. And I learnt an awful lot about how these predators work. And I just wanted to create something that these parents could use, and maybe teachers. I mean, I really made it, I self-funded it. I want it to be out there for everybody. It was just for everybody to watch and pass on. But a story that is that powerful has to be told.
I love your work so much.
Thank you.
It's so easy, especially in this industry, to lose certain values or integrity. That's something that's really important to me, is I will never ever lose those values and that integrity that is everything to me. And I see that in you, and I just commend you and just think that's so beautiful.
Thank you. I mean, we're tested every day with that integrity and what we believe in. I think that's something that it definitely is more prevalent in our industry because it would be so easy. I call it selling your soul to the devil. And I have a lot of friends that do that, and they need to earn money. They need to be in a position where they're constantly working. So their decisions aren't based on actually who they really are. They're having to make decisions based on other factors. And I think that's why I really try to keep my life simple, frugal, healthy, because then I can make good decisions. You know, it's all about making good decisions. And if I can do them, then at least I'm educating my daughter, and we can then educate the people that work for us. And eventually, you know, there's a ripple effect on that. So thank you, because I try really hard.
I don't even know if I'd say you try hard. I think it comes naturally. I
In
can feel it. I can feel the energy. It's almost like I can feel your soul.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment to me. I'm very conscious of making sure that my energy and my light is there and sharing it. It's very, very important to me. I'm the happiest I've ever been.
That's so inspiring. That is beautiful. That really just hit me. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
You call yourself a storyteller. As part of that, you believe that as a director, you have a responsibility to
represent all different types of people.
Can you talk more about that?
Yes, I might even take it back to that first part of the question, actually, about being a storyteller, because I think that in itself is very interesting, how I came to that moment, because I am a director, a writer, a filmmaker, producer. You know, we have all this terminology. And it was during what I call the Great Pause this year. And I took myself away several times for the first time ever, because I take my role as a mother very seriously. And I was able to take myself off and have this time to really digest who I was and catch up with everything that I was doing. And I have this affinity with different places I go to, different things I own, different stories I hear. And I was driving back from one of these places, and after I thought about it, I burst into tears, because the word storyteller just came to me. And as, you know, Joseph Campbell says, you know, finding your purpose, finding your bliss, it just hit me. And it was so powerful. Suddenly everything made sense. And I feel now that I have this wonderful term that encompasses everything that I'm about and everything I do. And so it's kind of opened the world up to me, knowing that if I am this storyteller, I need to not only be able to tell stories that involve everybody in the world, but I need to be able to hear their stories as well. And I'm working very hard at the moment on something called sacred listening, because it's not just about chatting to somebody over a coffee and hearing what they're saying, but really taking it in and remembering their stories, because I feel a responsibility as well to pass on these stories from these older generations. They have a lot to teach us. And in fact, there was a true story about an elder in a Native American tribe who was actually dying, and he was one of the last ones to be alive with all these stories. And one of the younger generations took on the role and said, I'll come and I'll listen, I'll take these stories. And as he told these stories over a period of about 16 months, he actually improved his health, because he was passing this knowledge on. It was healing him. So a responsibility as a storyteller is huge, not only to tell the stories, but also to listen to them.
You know what's really interesting? And I'm not just saying this to butter you up or anything. You speak with a confidence and conviction about yourself and your purpose in life that I have never seen so strong in someone else.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
I mean, it's almost as if you've like just worked through all of this throughout your life, and you're just so laser focused on what it is that you're meant to do in this world.
That's how I feel. You've just given me goosebumps, actually. And I often go with what is the goosebumps tell me, this is the real thing and this is right. And even being here right now, I know that this is where I'm supposed to be. I mean, I'm very grateful for everything that I experience. I have my book that I write my morning pages in every morning, 3 pages, and I was actually just doing them before this started. And I'm writing words like how grateful I am, what I've already done today, where I am, what I'm doing. And I think there's something that's just in me that was waiting to get to this stage. I feel like this is exactly, I have certainty that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
You are 100% living the abundant life that you're living because of the person that you are.
Amen to that.
I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing in educating us all on the matter of diversity.
Well, I feel I have a huge responsibility on my shoulders. It would be so wrong of me not to do something about it. I take it very seriously. I think that I have to, again, show my daughter how to behave. If I'm not going to do it, then why would she? So it doesn't take much to do something differently. On my last feature, which will hopefully be out in a couple of months, it's called Will You Be My Quarantine? And that's the one with Jodie Sweetin, Alec Mapper, Danielle Perez and David Lipper. And that was a real experience for me to not just put my friends in the movies, because even though I audition and I go out to breakdowns, I really wanted to make a stand and make a difference. And so I made sure that any of the roles that we wrote could apply to anybody. It didn't have to be just what we might naturally put in our heads. And one of the issues normally is that my daughter obviously looks like me. So generally when she has parents in a movie, one of them has to look like me. But with this one, she was actually my first AD on the film, on the project. By the way, she's an amazing first AD. I didn't need to have anybody that looked like her. Therefore, I could put myself out there and say, okay, let's have a look at this incredibly eclectic, colourful world that we live in and just see what fun we can have. And it was the best project that I've worked on. It was the hardest because it was COVID and I filmed it in 8 days.
Wow, 8
yes,
days.
8 days. It was intense, but I had my usual team with me. And there were things that we had to learn. I had a wonderful lead actress, Danielle, who is in a wheelchair. And so I had to learn what that meant on a set. And the house and the location we were shooting in, it's not built like this place with big open wide doors. We had to measure things, we had to get the facilities that were needed. And just things like that somebody, especially on a COVID budget, might have thought, well, we can't do that. I made sure we did. And then also I had 2 amazing young actresses who were deaf, and I needed to have 2 people to accompany them on set. Again, in a budget, suddenly you've got 2 extra people, COVID tests, paying them, food, all of these things. But again, if I don't start now, then that's just an excuse. So I feel a strong responsibility.
So admirable.
Aye, aye, Captain. Oh, that's Admiral.
Oh, Admiral. Yes. All right, so Elizabeth, the next question is it's an important one. You ready for this?
I don't know.
What do you call a famous director who goes camping during the pandemic?
Tentin Quarantino.
Do you know I'm going to actually use that? Oh dear, but it's a good one.
I saw 2 outcomes. I saw that you would really appreciate it, or you'd stare at me as if I were crazy.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it was not the latter.
Kind. I was kind.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your generosity.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, so the last and most important question that I have for you as it relates to the Talking to Earthling series, what does it mean to be human?
First of all, it's a beautiful question. My instinct goes to talking about dogs, because I think the word human has almost lost its clarity, actually. I feel like it's about being a soul. And so, in fact, I know it is. I just got my goosebumps again. To me, it's about knowing what's in here. Human to me is a little bit more exterior. Whereas I think if we talk about a soul, we can cover dogs, animals, insects, plants. Everything on this earth is here for a reason. Everything has something to teach us, and everything has a soul. And so what does it mean to have that soul? It means we're here to learn from other people. We're here to grow. We're here to improve. We're here to listen and learn and pass on concepts. I mean, the greatest soul that I have around me, I have two of them, is my daughter, but also my dog, because there's something that's just genuinely there that isn't occupied with all this exterior stuff that us as humans are exposed to. And I think earthlings, that's the term we're going to use, I think earthlings lose their way sometimes. And I think if we can all take ourselves back to grounding ourselves and appreciating those small things, I think we'd all find a much more peaceful, serene, happy place to be. And I think if we all just stopped and breathed for a little bit, I think we could get there.
Well, Elizabeth Blake Thomas, thank you so much for being here today. So happy you came on the program. Really appreciate your authenticity, sharing your story. So inspiring that you have such a good relationship with your daughter.
Do you have any upcoming projects? Anything you want to share with our audience?
I would probably share, I think 3 is my favourite number, so I'll share 3 things. My book, Filmmaking Without Fear, is due out in April. And that accompanies my podcast of the same name and my featurette, which is my online course. So that's for everybody. It's all free. It's available for everybody. And then my second thing would be when Will You Be My Quarantine comes out, that everybody watches it. I don't know which platform yet. Fingers crossed it's a good one. That would be lovely to have that support. And then the third thing would be the thing that is very important to me at the moment is my medicine with words, which is my yoga for the mind, spring cleaning your mind, taking you on this storytelling journey. And it would be wonderful if people could follow me and learn about that journey.
Well, once again, Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. And so wonderful to meet you.
Thank you.
Yay!
Thanks, guys. That was lovely.
Yeah, you did such a good job.
I could talk to you all day.
Can we do that one more time just because we had that super loud car over?
Just like thanking her?
Yeah, just thanking her.
Okay.
Yeah, a bit more praise.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
Okay.
Get down on your knees. You can do this.
Okay. I mean, like when, did you wash your feet recently or can I kiss them?
Yeah, no, don't. I was paddleboarding this morning, so they've got C on them, so don't do that.
You were paddleboarding before you came here?
Yeah.
Why am I not surprised about that?
I try to do it every morning. I go out and see the sea lions, and I say good morning to them, and all the pups are out at the moment, and I talk to the seagulls, and I have a duck called Heather. She lives on the back of the boat, and in the morning I come out, and there's Heather. And so my paddleboard is my mode of transport, but I've come up with something really cool. I'm storyboarding. So I'm out there on my board and I'm constantly thinking of stories. So that's the storyboarding. And then I also came up with this thing called being fit, okay? So when you're paddleboarding, I came up with this terminology. So F stands for being fearful. I is, trying to think of the word now, hold on, insignificant, and T is giving you time. So my question to people is, where in your world do you have space to be fit? Because for me, I get on a paddleboard, I'm scared of the water every time. I don't want to be eaten by a shark or a whale or whatever comes into the harbour, but I push myself every day to go on it, and I survive. So that's the fearful becoming brave. The insignificant is because really, when I'm out on the ocean, there's just tiny me. Everything else has so much more purpose. And then T is time to think, because I come up with so much when I'm out there. There's so much space. So that's why I now ask people, where do you have time to, or space to feel fit?
I laid there wondering, would I ever see that squirrel again? Was I ferocious enough? Did I make it apparent that its tree was now my territory? I'll have to check on that when we leave. Mother said that we'd only be gone an hour, but she forgets to use the human to dog time conversion chart I told her about. I write it down, but I don't have opposable thumbs. Oh, wait. Could one of you actually write it down for me? The human to dog time conversion chart. And if you see a squirrel, tell it, hi.
Hey guys, thanks for watching that episode. As a reminder, we've created Talking to Earthlings to have raw and honest conversation with one another in an effort to unite human beings who may not agree ideologically, but who can be inspired by one another's vulnerabilities. By watching our show, you are helping us accomplish our goal of changing the world, one conversation at a time. Make sure to follow us on socials to stay updated. Thanks.